lesser curvature of the stomach, there's a mesentery in there too. That's called the lesser omentum. Okay, greater omentum on the greater curvature, lesser omentum on the lesser curvature. So look at stomach here. What letter does stomach start with? S. Okay, look at this big gray thing coming off of the stomach. It's the spleen, which also starts with S. Holy shit. Okay, so here's the spleen, and the spleen is attached to this greater curvature of the stomach with another mesentery. This is called the gastro for stomach, splenic ligament. Gastrosplenic ligament. All right. Now, I follow my stomach up to the top of that J. And if you squeeze it, you can feel their hard muscle inside. So it feels kind of over here, super wimpy over here, but there's a muscle, a ball of muscle. That's called the pyloric sphincter. We have a pyloric sphincter too, and what it does is it limits stuff coming into the intestines. All right, so that's the point where your stomach stops and your small intestine begins. Okay, what letter does pyloric sphincter start with? P. All right, so right around the pyloric sphincter, I'm going to find this weird flappy looking thing. That is the pancreas, yes, which starts with a P.
Oh, wow.
Hey. All right, so this is the anterior lobe of the pancreas. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to separate the stomach. I'm just going to peel it apart from this stripy intestine part. Look at this. See this finger thing in here? That's the posterior lobe of the pancreas. So the anterior lobe is right by the pyloric sphincter because it starts with a P. And here's the posterior lobe, which is also running around the pyloric sphincter. Okay, so now if I peel off this anterior lobe of the pancreas, I can see, look at, right at this little pinch area is the end of the stomach and the start of the small intestine. So we have like a really complex small intestine. It has 3 regions and it's long and curly. The shark, this is the small intestine right here. Okay, it's about 1 inch long and it runs from the pyloric sphincter to when all these little stripes start. Okay, so that small intestine is also called the duodenum. And then look at this stripy intestine. This is called the large intestine, the valvular intestine, or the spiral intestine. Each of these stripes is a pair of blood vessels, and the yellow blood vessels are veins. They drain nutrients from this chamber into the digestive tract. So each of these stripes will feed a valve, a wall-like structure that separates chambers within this large intestine. Okay, so when the stripes end, we have the rectum, and the rectum spills out into the cloaca. Okay, so look at this disgusting thing here. This is called the rectal gland. See, it's coming out of the rectum. All right, rectal gland. And the rectal gland is attached to the dorsal body wall by its own mesentery. It's called the mesorectum. Okay, mesorectum. Okay, so we're going to be able to see what the different areas of the digestive tract look like. First of all, I want to ask a question. What is this little sticky outy thing in the cloaca called? Urinary papilla. It's a girl. Okay. All right. Oh, let's look at this first. So, it's a girl, right? What's this?
A heart?
Ovary. Look how far up in the throat it is. Holy shit. Yeah. Okay, so our reproductive organs, our gonads, develop from outpocketings of the anterior of the kidney. The kidney in sharks is not a kidney bean shaped organ that's in the dorsal body wall in the abdomen. The kidney runs along both sides of the dorsal body wall. And I'm going to peel a little bit of this skin away here. And see how it's all flaky? See this? This is all flaky right here. These are all tubules. They're kidney tubules. And they run from the cloaca all the way up to this anterior part here. Okay? So they're just skinny bunches of tubules. They're not in one organ like that. But anyway, the gonads develop from outpocketings of the anterior of the kidney. And so this is the ovary. In females, the ovary is attached to the dorsal body wall by a mesentery called the mesovarium. It's right here. Okay, there's one on each side. There's one here, and then two, one on each side, right and left. So this one's got immature oocytes compared to this side. It's got big old
Is that an extension of that one?
No, they're two separate. There's a right and left, just like in humans. They have a right and left ovary.
So it's...
This is an egg.
Oh,
An egg
so it's
cell.
not an ovary.
No, this whole thing with all the eggs in it is the ovary.
Oh.
Okay? So look at the ovary is attached to the dorsal body wall by the mesovarium. What do males have? What are their gonads called? Testes. Okay? T-E-S-T-E-S. A single one is T-E-S-T-I-S. Do not spell testes T-E-S-T-I-E-S because testes spelled like that are little tests. Quizzes, if you will. Okay? So in males, that attachment, that ligament is called the mesorchium. So testes were referred to as the orchids, I don't know, long ago. So they are referred to as the orchids, and the ligament is called the mesorchium. All right? So now we have our ovary here, and if we take a look, it all imploded. I'm going to look on this side because it's better. All right, so we have our ovary here. What's the ligament called? Mesovarium. Look at, there's a tube running from the ovary to this big chamber here. That's the oviduct. So the eggs pass through the oviduct into this big chamber here. So this is the one side of the uterus.
It
so
is the placenta?
No, these are not placental animals. Mammals are placental.
Would the ovary duct be similar to like the fallopian tube in mammals?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the uterus, its left uterus has popped out of its cloaca. Okay, so I only see one side. But what happens is the uterus is a Y-shaped thing. So it has two horns, two chambers, a right and left horn. So it's called a bicornate uterus. Corn means horn. So the two uterine horns come together in the middle and make the body of the uterus. And then everything exits out the party hole. All right? So first of all, I want to cut open the digestive tract so we can see the structures inside. See how short this is? Imagine if you ate an entire human and you had this little bit of digestive tract to digest it. You have to have structures that help to optimize the surface area for digestion and absorption. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut through the different parts of the digestive tract so that we can see those specialized structures. You guys don't have any fun things in your stomach. I found these two little isopods in mine. You know those things that like, they look like shrimp. They look like bugs. Yeah, they look like cockroaches. And they're the ones that get into the gills and they take over the tongue of some fish. It's so gross. You gotta look it up. And it just becomes the tongue of the fish. So then it can like absorb all of the fish's nutrients. Okay, so what is this part of the intestine called? Large intestine, valvular intestine, spiral intestine. Now I'm cutting into what? Rectum. Okay. So starting up here at the esophagus, look at how, oh, look at there's dead fish in here. Okay, so look at, it looks like gross shag carpeting, right? Look at that. So these are called esophageal papillae. Papillae that are in the esophagus. A papillus is one little extension. So these papillae, you can see how digested that little bit of fish was in there. Those papillae help maximize the surface area for both digestion and resorption. So each of these papillae acts like, in the small intestine there's a brush border of epithelium, and they contain little microvilli that are smaller than this, but they have a vessel in them called a lacteal, which is specific for absorbing nutrients. So these are kind of like that. So from the esophagus, we go into the stomach, and I can tell because look at the inner surface. It has all these folds. These folds are called rugae, and the rugae allow the stomach to expand. Our stomachs have rugae as well. So we can see the rugae as we travel the entire J shape. And look at this, oh, what is that? Oh, it's a nice part. Oh no, it's a piece of fish. Anyone hungry? Okay. So it makes the J shape, and you can see all the rugae. But when we get up to here, the pyloric sphincter, the rugae kind of stop. They all gather in one place. And the small intestine is really nothing. So we can tell where the small intestine starts because that's where the pyloric sphincter is. We can tell where it ends because all of these stripes from the valvular intestine start. So each of these stripes, again, is a pair of blood vessels. And look, each of these blood vessels feeds one of these little walls here. These are called spiral valves. So the spiral valves make more surface area within this spiral intestine so that we can digest and absorb nutrients. So look at what it looks like up here. So it's like pulverized fish up here, but when we get to the part just anterior to the rectum, it's poop. Okay, so see, each of these valves demarcates a little area, and we get to digest and absorb more as the valvular intestine moves posterior. So everything enters into the rectum and out the cloaca. Okay? I think that's it. Woo. Yeah. Next week we're going to do vessels. Oh, you want to look in here? Do you guys want to deliver your C-section? Do you want me to do it? Well, I don't know. It is. So they can